What's up, guys? I'm Mike D'Antonio, founder and CEO of Stocked Up.
And I am Tom Moore, Vice President of Stocked Up.
And in this video, we're going to be going over a lot of things. So first, we're going to be talking about what happened in the market last week. We're going to be going over some important dates and things to watch out for in the market this week. We're going to be talking about a lot of different stocks to watch for this week. We're going to be talking about the earnings season and a lot of volatility and important stocks to watch this week. We have a lot of options, a lot of big, very unusual activity options that we'll be talking about too. Pretty much we are seeing some investors put tens of millions of dollars into certain options, and we're going to be talking about those later in the video, so make sure you watch to the end. And we're even going to be talking about a potential huge mispricing in the market closer to the end of this video, so stay tuned. So for last week, we had Amazon and Netflix skyrocket. And so, Tom, what do you think? What do you see out of this?
With this, I see a whole bunch of people sitting at home with the coronavirus right now because they have nothing else to do. And what they're trying to do is just try to buy stuff on Amazon and on Netflix. I know a lot of UPS drivers have been seeing a lot of influx of Amazon packages and people ordering stuff online right now. So, of course, Amazon's going to go up. And, of course, everybody's getting into all these streaming services like Netflix and Hulu right now. So Netflix has earnings coming out this week, and that's going to be very big for them. I think they're going to kill it with earnings, considering everything right now. The only thing we have to be careful of is how much of this is already priced in. But, I mean, that's just something to look out for. Obviously, they're going to have very high subscriber rates because everyone's quarantined. So
yeah, I mean, that's a great point. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. And, we could see that, if we look at a Netflix chart, we're at, 6-month highs, but I'm going to go to a yearly chart right here. And it looks like Netflix is at yearly highs. I know Amazon hit all-time highs last week. I mean, both of these companies are exploding, right? And to be fair, it's right that they're exploding. I mean, like you said, people are sitting at home right now. They're watching Netflix. There was a news article that released last week about Netflix having some of the highest subscriber rates they've ever had. Amazon, like you said too, people are sitting at home and, for the things that they need to buy, yes, people can still go to the stores and, brick and mortar stores and stuff like that. But, with the whole virus situation, I feel like some people just don't even, want to leave the house. There's a hidden risk, so yeah, I mean, Amazon's exploding. E-commerce is doing well in this pandemic, and Amazon's a leader of e-commerce, you know what I mean? So, but like you said though, so with Netflix, we do have earnings this week. And the thing is, Netflix is up a lot, right? Netflix is up a lot already. And I feel like, we know that they are having some of the highest subscriber rates that they have ever had. But the question, like you said, is this already priced in?
yeah, they're already up just about 20% since Monday. So I mean, that's a pretty big drop or rise
huge.
This week. So,
that is huge.
Yeah, that's a huge rise in a big stock like Amazon and Netflix.
Right.
Both, they both rose like 20% this week.
Exactly. So. I mean, and remember, only it was about a year ago that Amazon crossed like the $1 trillion valuation, and to see that same $1 trillion company rise 20% in 1 week, that's insane.
Yeah, it is crazy. They're sitting at $2,400 a share. I mean, that is unheard of, man. Like people were getting in at $300, $500 a couple of years ago. So.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. And I know in some of this week's videos on the YouTube channel, I was highlighting some of Amazon call options, and those things went from $19 to over $8,000 per contract.
Yeah, I saw that. I also saw we had a nice like 350% gain on Amazon at the end of the week. Isn't that right?
Yep, that is right. So the Stat Modeling Group, on Thursday, I called out some puts on Amazon, and at one point those were up about 300 to 400%, like you were saying. So Amazon, crazy opportunity. I ended up trading a call credit spread on them. That worked out, pretty good. I called it out on, I believe, Thursday's video, but it was a safe trade, you know what I mean, just to take advantage of the huge move. But going back into last week, we did see bank stocks get killed. So, you know, if you
Yeah.
pull up a chart right now, we have Bank of America. If you want to talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, Bank of America, they reported terrible earnings last week. Their earnings were down about 45% in the first quarter. So obviously for banks, that's terrible. And I even knew this was coming because Wells Fargo and JPM, they both reported earnings one day before Bank of
Right.
America did. And then Bank of America continued to fall 7%, but they did end up popping, 9% on Friday, just about, which is a huge pop, but it's very difficult to understand why, considering the terrible earnings. But
Yeah.
other than just following the market, I can't see any reason why they're going up so much. But it is what it is. I'm in for actually on the long term on Bank of America right now. I'm actually currently holding 200 shares. So
Oh, nice. Nice. Nice.
yeah, I'm in right at 22.58, I believe. So
Nice. Yeah, good, good. Yeah, like you were saying, it was Wells Fargo and what was it, JP Morgan who reported early?
yeah, they reported it one day before Bank of America.
Yeah, so you could see, guys, like I'm pulling up a chart right now, like JP Morgan, they reported earnings on April 14th before market open, and they fell, right? JP Morgan and Wells Fargo fell. So it was kind of a given that JP Morgan was also going to fall on earnings. So, you know, if you guys ever see that, if you have well, typically what happens is like, you know, normally all the bank stocks report earnings together. Normally all the retail stocks report earnings together, and all the tech stocks. Like it's normally like in groups, right? So if you guys see like, all the bank stocks are falling when they report earnings, like all the bank stocks that reported on Tuesday are falling, then there's a pretty good chance that the bank stocks that report on Wednesday and Thursday are also going to fall. I mean, of course there is a chance that they could rise or do something different. But I've used that strategy in the past. I don't know if you have, Tom, but
Oh yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I've used it a lot. But one thing I want to, warn people about with this is that if you can see my charts right now, you can see that with all the pre-market and after hours movement with these earnings here, with
right,
all the pre-market movement, sometimes you have to get in the day before earnings because obviously, like look at this BAC here. We can see Bank of America. This is right where they reported earnings in the morning, and they dropped so much in pre-market that by the time you would have gotten in when market opened, you wouldn't have even made any money on your puts
right,
unless you would have held to the next day, which a lot of
right,
people don't like to do. And
right.
so you would have had to get in one day early, which I did call it out one day early, but it's just one of those things to keep in mind that it is a lot of pre-market action, so you can't get into those options during that time.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I've been seeing with that, I've been seeing that with the overall market too. So like if you pulled up a SPY chart right now, you'll see some of the biggest moves all day long are in pre-market and after hours. Like
Oh
this is
yeah.
just something that has happened this week. But like you could see, I mean,
Yeah, look at that.
it's just something to notice.
Like a nice 1% rise, or 0.5% in after hours, which is
Right.
insane. So
Right. Yeah. I mean that's pretty big for for after hours or pre-market.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but back to bank stocks overall, the earnings told us a lot about the economy overall. I think was it Bank of America that reported like a 45% loss or
Yeah,
something?
that was Bank of America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bank of America reported a 45% loss in one of their divisions, but that's huge. You know what I mean? And we're only like the thing is they are reporting data. Some of that data they reported was before the virus too. You know what I mean? So we are only like this is the first technically earnings season that the virus has been a part of. We still have later in the year where we're going to see some of the effects of the virus just later in the year. So keep that in mind too. But so now we're going to go on to some of the important things to watch out for this week. So on Tuesday at 10 a.m. So all the times I'm about to list out are for Eastern time. So we have home sales coming out on Tuesday at 10 a.m. We have oil data. I know Tom follows oil a lot. He's always posting in the Discord about oil, but oil data is coming out on Wednesday at 10:30 and then 10:30 a.m. And then jobless claims, which has been increasing a lot each week, is coming out on Thursday right at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So Tom, if you want to tell us about oil or what you're seeing.
Yeah, keep in mind, futures just opened up right now. Oil is already down 1.7%. They did go a lot higher from Thursday to Friday, though. If we're looking at the chart here,
Yeah,
we're going from 19 all the way up to $26, because you can see that it changed contracts.
mm-hmm.
If you understand the futures market, that
Mm-hmm.
it changes contracts. I know it's pretty extensive. You have to know a lot about futures to understand the contract changes and everything. But
Right.
um, they're already down 1.7%, but that is a big rise here. The pretty big gap up on oil from Friday to now, like 30%. That's pretty big. So
Yeah. Also, what's weird is like if we go to crude oil, and I'm just looking at a daily chart, just like the past 6 months. I mean, crude oil was red all of last week, but if we go to like some like the oil stocks like ExxonMobil or Chevron, CVX, those were red most of the week. But for some reason, we're seeing a 9% pop on CVX on Friday, and ExxonMobil is even bigger. It's about 10.5% on Friday out of nowhere. So that might be a play for this week.
yeah, I think that has a lot to do with right now Russia and OPEC are getting together, and they're really hitting these production cuts hard. Like they're really cutting production to try to drive these prices of oil back up, because they understand that this is a really bad time right now for the world, especially whenever oil is so low. Now I understand obviously it makes gas prices cheaper and everything,
Right.
but oil prices being low, with how much companies and stuff rely on oil being up, that's just a big problem whenever you're talking about a market overall. It's like market suicide if you just keep, producing more and more oil to
Right.
drive the prices down. It's like I said, it's economic suicide. So
Yeah, and keep in mind, like with Russia, the Saudis, and even the U.S., the oil industry is huge for our economy. Like you're saying, I mean, we're not talking about like oil's a big deal. So it's better for everyone. Most of the time when oil is not getting killed. So they're definitely gonna try and come to some agreement to get the price of oil back up.
yeah, and we do have that report this week where they're going to be doing the inventory data, and I do believe that you will see inventories start to dwindle, because they're going to try to get those prices up. So they're not going to be producing as much and putting them in inventory and waiting. They're going to sell it out now, unfortunately, for a small loss instead of just holding them forever.
Right.
But that's the whole point, is that right now the countries like OPEC and Russia, they want to hold it because they want the prices to go back up, so they can,
Right.
because they've been producing so much that they want the price to go up so that they can sell all their oil, at $60 a barrel or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. And now we're going to transition into some of the hot stocks to watch for this week. So everyone is talking about Gilead. So ticker symbol
Oh man,
GILD. Everyone is talking about them. If you haven't
they
heard
are
about them
insane.
already, one on Friday they closed up 10%. They were actually up I think like 11% pre-market, but
Yeah.
they are working on a potential cure for the coronavirus. And pretty much on Thursday night, they said, "Hey guys, our cure is going pretty good so far." And in turn, their stock is up about 10%. And they had a lot of volume traded, and I mean a lot. So like normally, like the average volume for Gilead is about 12 million shares a day. On Friday, it traded 94.3 million shares.
Yeah, and we're talking about going up like 17% in pre-market. So
Yeah, was it that high,
yeah,
really?
they closed at like 76
Oh
on
wow.
on Friday, and then they shot all the way up to like $90 a share.
Wow.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, I see that. Let me go to
And now they're bouncing right off the 100 SMA also.
let me take a look at your chart real quick. So yeah, I see that. Yep, totally. Yeah. Yeah, you could see how high they were in pre-market. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, but then we go back to like you were saying, Tom, most of these moves are happening in pre-market and after hours. Like, yes, you could have made money on Gilead throughout the day, but
But there's no
um,
real chance to get in on any options with them, which sucks, because
that's
you
the
want to get that
problem.
300% plus gain on this within that day, and you can't do it because it's
Right.
all moving in pre-market or after hours.
Yeah. And really what it comes down to is, if you bought Gilead calls the day before, those things shot up crazy, right? But since we're not seeing these huge moves intraday, that just hurts like the day trading side of the options market. You know what I mean? Because one, you have to predict the direction right, but then two, you have to fight time decay too. So that's it's a little problem for day traders right now, but the opportunity still is there, guys. So keep that in mind. Like, you just have to shift your approach. You have to, you're gonna have to hold a couple of days in this market.
Yeah, look at this triangle I just drew on Gillette.
Yeah.
Right before it went up, this is a very nice technical analysis, like triangle right here.
Right.
It just popped right through. You could obviously see.
Right through that thing.
Yeah, like if you could have seen that forming and got in.
Yeah.
Like on let's say like Thursday morning or Friday morning right here.
Yeah.
That would have been a very nice play, but it would have been very hard to figure that out,
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, but what you can see though is, like, Tom, if you go, you see where the where Gilead bounced off that your purple line intraday.
Yeah, right
It
here.
looks like it lined up right at the top of the triangle. So you see, like, right where the top part of the triangle starts to form. You see there. Yeah. You see how it lines up with that?
Yeah, so, right. Perfect. Yep.
Well, no. So the top of the triangle, you see, like, right where it left a little bit. Yeah, right there. So you could see, if you draw like if you drew a resistance line right there, you exactly.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, nice. It's perfect resistance. It bounced right off that and the 100 SMA at the same time.
Right. Exactly.
That's a very good indicator.
Yeah, and we saw a huge bounce at the end of the day too. But what I'm trying to say is, guys, past resistance becomes support. So, for example, the line that we're talking about was a past resistance line. But since Gilead shot up right through that, it bounced off that same line, but it acted as support. So that's a little lesson there. You know what I mean? So the same.
Yeah, if you were watching this, like a lot of people were, that was a very easy play to recognize too. Like, you just recognized it in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to draw any lines. You just saw it.
Yeah. So we let me see. So we had Guild, right? Also, though, we had Lululemon shoot up pretty big on Friday. I mean, they're up about 8%. They had a strong close.
That was a strong day overall. Wow.
Yeah, and really, what I'm seeing is it kind of looks like the setup from Tesla on a daily chart. So I'm gonna share my screen right here, so we could see, like, on Tesla, we saw this, kind of just run up. You had overhead resistance up here, like from the middle of February at about $900. You had a lot of resistance, is what I'm trying to say. But on April 13th, you saw that big green candle up, and it continued upwards for the rest of the week. So I see a very similar setup with Lulu. We see that big green candle closing near highs, and there's a ton of resistance overhead. So it's a very similar setup to Tesla. I called it out for the stat modeling group on Friday. I think it could be a great play. Like, if Lulu does continue up, we could average up into this, all week long. If it doesn't work out, then we'll cut the losses quickly. But I do see a lot of opportunity with Lulu.
Yeah, Lulu is so high right now. I can't believe that play ahead on Friday. Same thing, though, if you would have drawn a nice resistance, it did go and touch that same resistance once it passed through it on Friday. So that was another good indicator again.
Yeah, intraday resistance. And then another thing, we already talked about this, but with ZOM and CVX, ExxonMobil and Chevron, oil got, didn't get killed on Friday. It was down, though, and oil is down all week. But for some reason, we saw ExxonMobil and Chevron up big. So that could be something to look out for too.
Yeah, I think that's really because of the cuts that Russia and OPEC are doing. Plus, it's just following the market. The market was up a lot on Friday as well, so that's another good indicator.
Yeah, so
because those oil stocks love to go up when the market goes up as well. So
yeah, and then Bank of America and Citigroup too. They had a good close on Friday, so more opportunity for a potential continuation play. And I also saw some director at JP Morgan bought like $6.6 million worth of this stock at about, I think it was like $86 each. And it's already at, what is it at right now? $95.
JP Morgan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have already made $9 a share like instantly in after hours.
Yeah. he was up about, I think, like $600,000 on his position last time I checked. But, really what I'm just looking for in that is, hey, someone just dumped $6.5 million into this company and it's an insider. He might know something or, maybe not, but the odds are is, he bought it at a great price, and I know you're holding long-term on the banking stocks. So, for any of the
Yeah,
bigger
exactly. And I would think he's holding long term too, especially if he's an
oh
insider.
yeah,
So
of course, of course.
yeah, I think that the stimulus has really stimulated the economy so much that, I mean, look at they've said that they're going to put as much money into the economy as it takes to get it back up. So
Yeah.
if that's the case, I mean, man, you're talking about trillions upon trillions back into the market, and that's going to drive these stocks up no matter what they are. So
And it's funny you say that too, because earlier today I was on my phone on the CNBC app, and I saw that Mnuchin and Pelosi are coming closer to an agreement on the second wave of the stimulus package. So, like you said, and I know, like, Trump's going to do whatever it takes to get this economy right. He wants that second election, and he's going to do whatever it
exactly.
takes. And that's what we have to expect. And I see the market up so much. Like, can you go to like the Dow right now, maybe like a daily chart? If
Yeah.
we look at the Dow, it had a huge recovery from the bottom. And, I've been seeing headlines about, another deadliest day, like the virus is getting worse. And I see the market go up. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'll see record unemployment and record deaths per day, and I'll see the market up 1,000 points.
Yeah.
I'll be like, what is happening? And now that we talk about this whole stimulus package, maybe the people who really control the market know that everything's going to get better than what we really expect. You know what I mean? Because there's a saying that like the market truly knows what's going to happen. Like the people that control the market, I mean, they control the world. So maybe
Exactly. That's why it's always that's why it's the top 1%.
yeah.
And that's why they do control it, because they understand what's going to happen with the market and with the stimulus package, with how much money's going in. It's just to see it really go down another 50%. I don't see it on some of these stocks, especially like Bank of America and JP Morgan. Obviously in '08 that happened, but that was a big financial crisis.
Right.
That was not a virus. That was a totally different circumstance. We're in new territory now. And people are trying to really look at what happened in like 29 and '08, and it's just not the same scenario anymore. This is a virus.
Like that's the thing. Like, some people would take what you just said and say, hey, it's just a virus, it's going to pass. And then some people are going to be like, hey, it's a virus, we never saw anything like this. Like, the market might fall down, to 10,000, on the Dow or something like that. But really, honestly, I think, can we go down more? Maybe. But I feel like something really bad would have to happen. But the stimulus package is doing a lot of good, and the market is up pretty big. You know what I mean? Like, this is quite the bounce. The VIX is starting to fall. So if you could pull up the VIX, Tom, just VIX, and like the thing is like the VIX is calming down, and what this represents is the volatility for the market. And I don't think we would see a fall this big if we were really gonna.
Yeah, exactly. I think we would have seen a nice bounce somewhere around like 50 or 40 on the VIX. I don't think we're going to continue down right here. I mean, I think we are going to continue down. I don't think that we would have seen another rebound here. If we did, then obviously the market would continue falling, and the chart setup would look a lot different than it does.
Right, exactly. So, like, the thing is, a lot of it's just going to have to be played by ear too. Like, if crazy news comes out tomorrow that freaking companies are going bankrupt left and right, then it might be a different story. But I think how it stands right now, that I think we're going to be fine.
Oh, and Mike, another good play is Abbott Medical or Abbott Laboratories. They've just announced, or they've just started producing millions of these 5-minute test kits for the coronavirus. Look at how much they're up since this. It bounced right off their 1,000 SMA pretty much. If you'd have got in around $70, you could already be up 40% on this Abbott play. Man, they've been talking about Abbott for like the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So like you really could have gotten into a good play if you would have been watching Abbott or looking out for companies that were making a test kit or test for for the
Right,
virus.
right. And I know Thermo Fisher, ticker symbol TMO, I know they had something to do with the test kits and stuff like that.
Yeah, them too. Same play, same type of play.
I think they have earnings this week. Yeah, they do have earnings this week
Yeah.
too. And Abbott did too, and they jumped on earnings, so that might be a play. So for earnings season, we are approaching earnings season, and for this week we have a couple big plays. So Intel is reporting earnings, Verizon, Coca-Cola, AT&T, Netflix, like we talked about, Philip Morris, and Lockheed Martin, and IBM, and AXP. So those are some of the biggest names reporting earnings this week. Just by looking at it right now, I would think that AXP would probably fall because, the other banking stocks and, in like similar to that fell. But, I guess we'll just have to see because they already fell last week. What are you seeing from AXP?
Yeah, the volatility on these banking stocks is just crazy. Like you can see they're moving up and down 7% on the daily right now. Like
Yeah.
on Friday, this was a 7% move. But the thing was is that it was a 7% move on Thursday, it was a 7% move on Wednesday, and it was like a 20% move on Tuesday. So you're just talking about right now the volatility is just so through the roof. Obviously, it's starting to slow down now, but we're still at the bottom right now, and we're. It seems like all these stocks, like they've hit a high, and then they've came down to the very bottom. They're all consolidating down here,
Yeah.
and they're trying to like decide what they're doing. Like right now, we're getting very close to the breakout point on these. Like, are they going to break above right now, or are they going to start moving back down?
Yeah, and
That's the big question.
another thing is too is a lot of it just depends on the industry because like if we look at McDonald's, they're doing great. Like they're doing great. But if
Yeah.
we look at banking stocks, like you're saying with AXP, they're kind of like in the middle right now. So I think a lot of it depends on the industry. Like we're seeing Netflix and Amazon, they're skyrocketing.
And like, what
UAE,
happens if people can't start paying their loans right now?
exactly. So that's the thing. So it's going to be very industry specific. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. But what do you think about some of the other earnings plays?
Yeah, I think like some tech stocks like Intel, like INTC, I'm actually holding them. I'm actually up like $1,200 on them right now.
There we
But
go.
I'm looking to sell them very soon. If they do fall below this 100 SMA, I pretty much have it locked in, unless they have like a a very bad like pre-market gap down of like
Yeah.
20%. But if they don't, then I'm going to cash out for like $1,200, and we'll just take that money and run. But we got in very low down here when it bounced off the 1,000 SMA. And I think these tech stocks are personally going to be doing very well right now because everybody's sitting inside. Intel, they make processors,
Yeah.
and you can work from home. So everybody's like buying laptops right now. I know multiple family members that had to start working from home and they had to buy laptops. I actually helped them buy them. So
Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
so we have like Intel and IBM, like they make laptops straight up. Lockheed Martin, they make airplanes like Boeing pretty much. I think that you could see their earnings will probably end up being down.
Mm-hmm. Why do you
I
say
personally believe they are up right now, but I think that their earnings will be down because just like with Boeing right now, there's just not a whole bunch of flights going on. I know that Lockheed, does more military contracts and stuff like that, but obviously with the corona, it seems like the world is kind of like banded together to like help each other during this in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it, like right now, it seems like war is just on the wayside. No one's even caring about that right now. So,
Hopefully.
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. So yeah, those are pretty much the top things to look at. If you had any other earnings things you want to talk about, let me know. If not, we'll jump right into the unusual options activity for this week.
Yeah, definitely Delta Airlines, man.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. So first one, like Tom said, Delta Airlines. So I picked this up on Friday. So Delta's down right now. You could look at the chart. We look at Delta Airlines and ticker symbol DAL, right? It's at $24 per share right now. They are reporting earnings this week on April 22nd before market open. And for Delta, I saw some huge money go into call options. So if we look at the Delta Airlines, it's the June chain, so June 19th. Someone bought quite a lot of the 31 strike calls. they're pretty far out of the money, but there's a lot of money going into them. So I saw someone bought about 3,400 contracts at about $136 each on Friday. So it's about $500,000, but it's not just the 31 strike calls. Like even with the 30 strike calls, I'm looking at someone picking up 6,500 contracts at $155 each. So that's over $1 million, and
Those are some huge options trades, man.
like
Wow.
the thing is that Delta isn't going down right now. Like it's just maintaining. And they have earnings this week. So honestly, I mean, I might get into it. I mean,
Yeah, it looks like the same play as Boeing right now.
it looks very
Same
similar.
exact play.
It looks very, very similar. I mean, take a look at like other, Southwest is, like they're not going down is the thing, like these airline stocks, like they're not going down for the past month and the market's going up. Like there might be a huge opportunity there. Like, I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a huge opportunity. Like you said, you got into Boeing right as soon as it hit 100. You called it out, and then you got out with like a 50% gain in 2 days.
Yeah.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
And right now, it's riding right along the 21 EMA. Hunter actually called that out in our Discord.
Yeah.
And it's riding right along that 100, and it looks like a very solid chart setup right now. You can see there is actually a triangle set up on there, and it has actually popped above. So I do have Boeing and Delta right next to each other, so you can see each play.
Right. Yeah.
But Boeing's on the left here, and you can see. I'll just make it Boeing so we can see the triangle pattern. And I'll zoom in, and you can see the nice triangle here on Boeing, and it's going ahead and popping right above here. On Friday, went up to 154, and it did close at the highs, which is another good sign. Kind of like how it closed at the highs right here, and then continued up. But it did end up falling on that day. But it did pop like 20% before it fell. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, going back to Boeing though, Boeing had some unusual options activity for this week too. And the thing is, the Delta calls expire in June. The unusual options activity that I'm looking at Boeing for this week expires this week. So the play more specifically is it's the April 24th chain, and it is the Boeing 170 strike call. So if we take a look at these ones are a little bit more expensive. There's a lot more money going into them. So the 170 strike calls had we have about 10,000 contracts traded. 1, 2, 3 times $365. There was about $3.6 million put into these contracts on Friday. Boeing was also up 15%. So, but the thing is, we saw Boeing go from $100 to $186 in a week before. You know what I mean? So, will Boeing hit $200 this week? I don't know. I mean, $200 is a stretch, but maybe a little bit less, but still, the 170 calls have a lot of money flowing into them.
Yeah, wow. Show my screen. I just drew a triangle on Boeing on that daily chart, and I transferred it over to a 15-minute chart. And look at this consolidation at the top of this triangle right here. Like, it is either going to tank on open or just fly up in pre-market. Like, it's definitely going to move one way or the other very big this week.
For sure. I mean, look at
it's definitely going to follow Delta, I think.
The money's flowing to the calls with Boeing and Delta. So we'll see. But the money's flowing to the upside right now.
Yeah, that's for sure. These airlines are such a good play, especially for the long term. Like you're talking about Boeing, they have military contracts as well as multiple civilian contracts with a ton of different airlines, not just in the U.S. but worldwide. So you're talking about tons of airplanes being made for a whole bunch of different countries, and it's such a good long-term play because they're at like $100 a share. If a company like Boeing goes out of business in the modern day, we're gonna have a lot of problems in the world. Especially considering we'll never be like flying, we won't be doing air travel again for the next, 3 months to a year.
Well, here's the thing. I bought Boeing at about $100 each when the market first tanked. And the way I looked at it is, look, Boeing is an amazing company, right? I'm getting them at a crazy price. I was picking them up at $100 a share. They were at $350 a share 2 months ago. And then on top of that, like you said, they produce they're a huge company. They're part of the Dow, and they have civilian and military contracts. And on top of that, they only have one competitor, and that's like Airbus. So like when you get in a stock like Boeing, that the airlines are good too, but I'm talking about Boeing. Like Boeing's a great company, and if you just pick up shares in that, that's what made me buy, down at 100. Like it's just a good bet.
Yeah, it's such a good long-term opportunity because like right now, even if you don't have a lot of money, like let's just say you have, $600, you could be putting that money into Boeing right now, buying like 5 or 6 shares, and who knows, over the next year, you could turn your $600 into $2,000 if Boeing goes back up to 300.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you get dividends too.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
You're talking about how much do they pay on dividends?
well, I think they just cut it, but I know they paid it was like over $8 per share last year, but I'm pretty sure they cut it though. They didn't fully cut the dividend, but I think they just lowered it.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it really quick. Hang on.
Yeah. I mean, like the thing is, like with Boeing, like if you could pick up 100 shares, that'd be great too. But like what you could do is you could like pick up 100 shares and then sell covered calls on it. Then you get even more money per week. And, it's just a great scenario. And that's what I did with Boeing. Like it puts you in a win-win, at the end of the
Exactly.
day. So,
Yeah, it's not always about the dividends. A lot of the time, the stock movement means more than dividends, obviously. Like if a stock
100%.
goes up 100% and you're getting paid 2% dividends, you're not going to care about your 2%
Right.
dividends
Right.
anymore.
Like the thing is, I feel like some new investors care too much about the dividend payment. And like the thing is, like I'll see people in Facebook groups who have like $1,000 and they try and pick up a stock that pays a 30% dividend. And I'm like, guys, that company's not going to be
Exactly.
around next year. They're paying
Yes.
30% for a reason. One, their stock's probably going to fall after you buy it. Then they're going to cut the dividend. And then before you know it, they're going to be bankrupt. And they just don't get that. Like, you could rather get a stock that will, might grow 30% in value, and you could get that capital gain, and that might pay a 2 or 3 or 4% dividend. You know what I mean? Like that's the better alternative.
Yeah, exactly. I actually have a chart pulled up right now on ET, which is Energy Transfer.
All
And I
right.
was actually holding them a while ago. They are a natural gas company. They produce natural gas, in the United States. And I went ahead and bought them a few years ago. Not a lot of money into them, about two to 3 grand, not a low position size. And I went ahead and bought them because they had like a 15% dividend. And the thing is if we look at this long term chart, like look, if you would have bought up here at like $24 a share, you're talking about losing like 80% right now, 75%,
Yeah.
just to go ahead and make a 20% dividend. And that it's
Right.
just not worth it. It's not
Right.
worth it, guys. I've lost on it in the past. I bought it around, 2015, I believe, right before it had this big takeoff downwards. And, I ended up I bought it like for around 25, and I ended up selling it for right around 25 because I didn't want to lose too much.
Yeah.
But it was just, what's the point in holding these? They go down so much over the long term. They're really trying to convince you to hold this because companies pay dividends for the whole aspect of you holding it. They want you
Yeah.
to hold it.
Yeah.
And they're really trying to play with your mind here on these. And they know that new investors get suckered into this. And it's very unfortunate that
It
people,
is.
I see it all the time. It's sad.
I know. So the last big options mover for Friday, we have this one's going to surprise you a little bit. We're seeing ExxonMobil, the banking stocks all up. All right. It's Apple. Apple was red on Friday, and Apple, just like the Boeing options, this option is expiring this week. And the options I'm looking at are the Apple 275 strike puts that expire on April 24th. And like I said, Apple was down on Friday. We have seen a big movement upwards in the market for the past 3 weeks now, or 4 weeks. So maybe Apple's something to look at for the downside. Right now futures are already down 240 points, so Apple might be something to look out for on the downside. There was a lot of money that went into them. I'll give you an exact calculation right here shortly. pulling up the chain right now, but if we, what is it? The 275 strike puts, right? They are going for about, let's take a look, about $300 each. There's about 16,000 contracts exchanged on Friday. So that's about $4.8 million on Friday on a weekly option. So
Wow, that's the biggest of all of them so
it
far,
is
you
the
said.
biggest of all of them. And the
Yes.
thing is, it's close to the money. Apple's already down. The market's down.
On a daily chart, Apple's right on the 100 SMA also.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna be looking at that. Like if I see Apple down, um,
Yeah, right here.
Monday morning or like even at Monday or Tuesday at close, I'll be getting in that play.
Yeah, like Friday, Apple fell right below the 100 SMA, and it hasn't been below there since since Monday 2 weeks ago. And since that Monday, whenever it finally went above the 100, it ended up going up 22%. So now we're falling back below, and I definitely see why people are getting into some puts right now. So
Okay. All right, Tom, this is going to be the last topic for today's video, and it's very interesting. So if we look at a chart, a 6-month chart, okay, of Dollar General, ticker symbol DG, it's moving pretty big, right? It's moving pretty big, and it makes sense. It's the dollar store, right?
yeah,
I looked in the past, like in the dollar store companies, and they did good in recessions, as you would think. Cheap items. People are trying to save money in these times, right? Dollar General is up big, but then if you look at Dollar Tree DLTR, it's flat. So I don't know what you think right here, but I think there might be an opportunity in the market. I feel like Dollar Tree is lagging. Dollar General shooting up. Dollar Tree is just flat.
yeah, same here. I think it could definitely follow Dollar General up. I think they could easily hit their highs again of $100 or $120 a share on Dollar Tree. The only thing is that Dollar Tree has I've heard that they are not doing quite as well as Dollar General as far as how many stores they have open and etc. But
Yeah.
other than that, I think that they could easily come back up, especially considering the market right here, how much they've fallen.
Right.
120 a share all the way down to
Yeah.
60. I mean, you're talking about like an exact 50% drop here, like on the money, 50
Yeah.
percent drop, 120 down to 60.
Yeah.
So
I mean, look, I think there's only one thing that can prevent Dollar Tree from going up, and I think that's if they're suffering fundamentally. You know what I mean? Because the market's starting to rise. They're proven to do well in recessions. They're a stock that moves just like them. Dollar General is up. So in my opinion, I think the only thing that would prevent Dollar Tree from going up is if they are suffering fundamentally.
yeah, exactly. I think so too. And the thing is that as far as fundamentals go with these dollar store companies, I mean, right now with the earnings coming up, they should have good earnings. If Dollar General had good earnings here,
Yeah.
we should definitely be looking for good earnings on Dollar Tree as well. So
Yeah. So, any last minute things you want to go over before we end the episode?
Uh, no, I think we had quite a good episode. We went
Yeah.
over oil and Amazon and Netflix, Boeing, pretty
Yeah.
much all the hot stocks going on, volatility, big options movement.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, if you guys have any questions, definitely message either of us on Facebook or Discord or anything like that.
Yeah, so guys, this is the first episode of me and Tom pretty much just discussing the market, together. I make videos on the YouTube channel, Tom makes videos, but this is the first time we're like making like a collaboration video and just analyzing the market live. So let us know what you guys think of this. I loved doing this. I'm sure Tom did too.
Yeah, it's been a very
Yeah,
good
I
time.
mean, we talked about some pretty cool things. I feel like this was a great kickoff to our this potentially new series. So if you guys like this video, make sure you let us know in the comments down below. This is gonna be posted on YouTube. We'll probably have this posted on iTunes and Spotify or somewhere else too. This is the first episode, guys. So I just want to say, one, thank you for watching. Any questions or anything, you can let us know in the comments down below. Check out our website, StockedUp.University. We have a ton of great courses, great programs. And on the YouTube channel, you could find in the description our Discord server link. We have over 500 people talking stocks, talking finance every single day. We have some amazing people in that group, as Tom knows.
Yeah, and we're posting updates every day. And there's even a free options day trading service in
Yeah.
there. If you go ahead and join, you can get free options day trades in there. Just join, go to the free options day trade group, and then just watch out for the picks. They come all day long from market open at 9:30 Eastern all the way till market close. So
sure.
it could be anytime, all day. And then we do have the stat modeling picks that come out at 2:30 every day as well.
Absolutely. So yeah, guys, this was an awesome episode. I'm happy to be here. So yeah, we're gonna end the episode here. Thank you guys for watching.